Yo, what's good? It's your boy Niger, aka King's Caliber, the Comeback King. 77 on Instagram, baby. Follow your boy. Hey, follow the YouTube channel here at God's Fault Podcast. Like, subscribe, share, put the noties on so you can get the latest episodes as we dig into all kind of topics. We here for it, you know? Hang with your boy. It's God's fault that I'm here. Don't be mad at me. Blame God. Yeah, we out.
Biggest enemy I got is myself, you know what I mean? New levels, man, everybody ain't got the same devils. My vision perspectives reach the collectives. My ops smelling like breakfast, eating like I'm cannibal, like I'm sick with perfection. I hear you.
All right, man. Yo, we back. We back with big bro Tony, Antonio Arrington, Marketing Director of VLD, my blood brother, man. Yo, the other episode we had to pause it because he was about to get into something juicy. I wanted to save it for his own segment, man. We didn't want to go too crazy. So, go ahead, Tone. Go ahead, pick up the way you left off, man.
What I was going to say is we got to know what we yield to. So when you know you, like as a man, I'm coming from a man perspective, right?
Okay.
When you know you, what you're subject to, what you're fighting and what you're going through and everything, right? It makes all the difference in the world because you could start healing. You can identify it and start working on it to heal, right? It doesn't take anything away. Right? It doesn't take the action away. What it does is says, hey, from that experience, what have I learned from it and what made me better from it? Like, so let's just say abuse. Let's just talk about abuse, right? Verbally and physically. If you talk to my kids, never abuse them. Verbally, never, because I'm always trying to come from a place of love. I'm coming from a place of learning. So even though that was a bad thing, right? And hey, it was pain, everything, that's how, Pops was raised and everything. And I don't blame him because why I was able to heal. And I, as a man myself, I understand the journey that he had to take. Yeah. Because of my shortcomings, right? My shortcomings as a man, right? So it didn't change the narrative. It just made me respect him a little bit more because he didn't have the help that I had. Right. He had the help that you have. You know what I'm saying? Right. So now from learning from those experiences, I could be a better brother, a better person, a better dad. Why? Because I know that if my temper goes, and it's okay to have a temper, but it's okay to be in control of your temper. Right. Or it's okay to say, hey, I'm about to black out. I'm going to stop talking to you right now. And I'm going to go over here for a minute.
Walk away.
You get what I'm saying? Because why? I know me. It's okay to be me. And I've always been big on that. I'm okay with my shortcomings. I'm okay with my weaknesses. But you know what? I work on those every day. And that's what I said. I know you got to know you. And sometimes
so you just said something. I'm sorry. I want to cut you off, but I just triggered a thought. So one of the biggest things that I feel like is a huge problem today is in two parts. Number one, there's a lack of self-awareness in individuals, especially our young brothers, man. There's a lack of self-awareness, and there is a lie or confusion to what a man really is.
There you go. Yep, I fully agree with that.
I mean, so 100%. And because of that, you have so many voices telling you what manhood is. That and then when you don't measure up in certain areas that you fall prey to with this lie, you kind of overcompensate or regress into something else. That's why you have men changing genders, because I feel like, me personally, I feel like it's what they pick up around them of the fear of being a man.
I seen one piece of it, and
not the total, but
yeah, that's one piece of it, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I wanted to jump in and add this. They wasn't taught who they were. See, what a man does, a father teaches his son what his name stands for, what type of man he is. That's what a father does.
That's a fact.
So when you remove that from the household, you know what I'm saying? When you remove that, now who does that who does that son go to say, who am I? I don't know who I am. I don't know what our last names stand for. I don't know
Right.
this. I don't know that. So normally say, and this is no bashing on women or whatever. So now you have the mother, right, trying to be dual roles.
Right.
And it messes the son up, because at certain stages, the mom's love and nurturing is important. Then the man has to take over and say, hey, now I gotta come in and do what I need to do to make sure he could take on the world and know who he is as a man. Because identity is everything. If you don't know who you are, one, you can't stand in the mirror and figure out who you are, but you don't know where you're going as well. You don't know what you stand for. So if you don't stand for one thing, you will fall for everything.
Yeah, that's true.
We were fortunate that we had multiple men that stood on their own too, right?
Yeah.
That showed us how to be men in different places and different stages.
And even in that, it was still a struggle.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Even though it was
even
still
with
a struggle.
even with that, it was still a struggle. A lot of people don't understand, like in the early 60s and 70s, late 60s and 70s, the government came in and told Black women that they would get more assistance and help from the government if the man wasn't in the household.
Right. Yeah, they did.
And they encouraged the breaking down of the Black family. Like, people don't really know that this was a systematic situation that they encouraged.
That's where the word originates, systematic, racism, because it was integrated within the system as a whole. Yep.
That's right. And so now you got fathers who can't get near to their children because if they didn't make enough money to sustain their family outside of the government, living in the ghettos, they thought they was doing something noble by letting the government step in and not denying their family assistance. And what they end up doing, just running the street.
Right. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Jumping from bed to bed.
I agree with that.
Still breathing. So this is so as a matter of fact, you can even take it how that mentality stays in the culture now, because if you look at how Russell Wilson is depicted, he's the exemplary example of a father who stepped in to take care of other children, have children of his own, stepped in, a solid man, a man of faith, regardless of what you believe in or whatever. And this man is being ridiculed as being a square and a sucker.
Right. Yeah. And that's sad, because we should be supporting him, because he's putting an example out there, right? Like, hey, this works for my house, but you could take some pointers from him and say, hey, if he's doing this and he have what's her name, Sierra, right?
Yeah.
He has her, like, hey, I'm in love, I want to be with this man, blah blah blah, and their relationship is on display.
Right.
They don't have privacy. Right. So they're normal people. They go through normal things just like you and I in our relationships and stuff like that.
Right.
But they worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and they on display. So you see all their dirt. Right.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. Like you said, he will be getting clowned and ridiculed. Why? Because he's taking care of his family and he's holding it down. He's spoiling his wife and everything. Right. Because he has the means to do so. What is wrong with that in this day and time?
Yeah.
Right. So there's some lessons that can be learned from there, right? As men. So we should be rallying, especially as Black men and men in minority period. We should be rallying around examples like that, whether you agree with it fully or not. She might not be dressed. She might dress too provocative for you, or whatever the case may be. She's still on his arm, and he's cool with it. That's him and his household. But they're together. They're together. They're not like Will and Jada. You get what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying? So hey, come on now. Come on, right? So I can appreciate him holding it down. I can appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? Do I agree with everything that he agrees in? That's none of my business, though. What him and his wife do and their family do is none of my business. But the example that they're putting out, it should be more examples like that. Right, we have to get out this mentality that we could do it by ourselves.
Right,
men, you can't do it by yourself. You wasn't put on this earth to be alone.
Yeah,
women, our women in our culture, the same thing. I know you was raised like that, but let me tell you something. Most of the time when you was raised like that, it was coming from a perspective of bitterness. Are you
Yeah.
smart? Yes. Are you talented? Yes. Can you do all these things? Yes. But you're meant to be with a partner so you could conquer what? The world together.
Yeah. That's
And
how you build. That's how you build the community.
yeah,
That's how you build.
that's how it was designed. So
Right.
whether you agree with it or not, that's how it was designed in the beginning. But our culture, hey, I could do it by myself. You can do it by yourself, right? But then one day you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be lonely. One day
Well,
you're
a
gonna
lot of
wake up.
this. Yeah, no, that's a fact. A lot of this. See, when I sit back and look at it, right, a lot of this to me is people are picking up attitudes and mantras because of the lack of an identity for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just replicating what they hear and what's being promoted.
Yeah, what they
And
agree with.
Yeah, because you're gonna always resonate with something because there's an emotion attached to it. You know what I mean? So either your favorite artist or whatever. It seems like our culture is so big on celebrity more than ever before. Like and we pattern ourselves after people who we deem exemplary, you know, or so more important or more of higher value than we are. And because of that, you know, like every generation you see carbon copies of the celebrity, you
There
know,
you
from
go.
the
Yes, sir.
Shafts to Pam Grier, you know what I mean, to so all these people, to Diana Ross, to, you know, like all these people who are influential in the culture. You got women who follow these women, you got men who follow men. So all men want to be pimps, and then they want to be gangsters, and then they want to be thugs, and then they want to be whatever, you know what I mean? So it's always been like that. So they always lift up somebody in each generation for the masses to gravitate and replicate. You know what I mean? And that's why it's so dangerous. You got to be careful. I remember during our time, you know, with the Little Kims and the Jay-Z's and the, you know what I mean, like and people trying to replicate these. Yes, they're trying to replicate the Foxy Browns and all this. All the girls was changing their hair and what they wear and all, you know, and the men was doing the same thing. So, this is things that we identify with culturally,
right?
That, you know, so, and we take on the attitudes and stuff because of not having any guidance in any direction. And it's and so it just makes it, and so, and then the crazy thing about that too, because the leadership that we should have had kind of fell back in the background and kind of just did their own thing while, you know, the culture was set on fire, you know. And now we got a situation where we got a lot of young boys who don't value life at all. A lot of young women. Another young female rapper passed away from Houston, drug overdose. We just suffered a tragic loss in our own family.
Right.
You know, shout out to Josh, man.
Yeah. Condolences. Yeah.
And senseless gun violence, man. You know, because a young man couldn't handle, you know, pride was hurt because he took an L and something that they agreed to do.
Right.
Not to say too much because it's still an open case, but so these situations, man, you know, it's so tragic because we're losing our youth. We got these young kids drilling. We lost King Von. You know what I mean? All these little young rappers. It's so insane that it's accepted that this is just how it is.
Well, I wouldn't say it's accepted. People just don't know what to do. And here's the deal, right? Because they feel like it's too far gone. Okay, and what I mean by that is, hey, these kids are dangerous. They don't have respect for authority and all these things, right? They don't respect authority, but they respect success.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is true.
So okay, so give them a measure of success so you can get in their ear.
No, this is
give
true.
Them something to
like
see.
Like your boy Wallow. He's showing, you know what I mean?
Give them something to see. Like King Von, like I watched the videos and everything. His dad was locked up and then, you know, dad was killed and everything because dads count. Let me tell you, dads count, right? 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. I got stats right here, right? Stats right here, right? That 70% of youth that are in state operated institutions come from fatherless homes. 6 times the average, right? 70%. 71% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. Seven
Mm-hmm.
times what the average. 75% of all adolescent patients or substance abuse rehabs come out of fatherless homes. So
Mm-hmm.
75% of kids, right? Fatherless homes, they're on drugs. 80% of rapists motivated by displaced anger come from fatherless homes. That's above the
Mm-hmm.
11% average. 85% of all children who show behavior orders come out of what? Fatherless homes. That's above the 15 is times 15% average, right? 85% of all youths in prison come from fatherless homes. That's 15% higher than the average. 90% of all fatherless homes and runaway children are from fatherless homes. That's 24% of the average. So,
Mm-hmm.
do we matter? Yes, we both matter. Both parts are important.
Right.
Just your presence, but we can't in my journey, I realized there's things that I learned when I came into this company, right? I was mentored by people that were older than me, right? And they had the business and they had great lives and they had great relationships and they was able to communicate effectively. One of the things that I picked up from them is what they was real hands-on. They was present. They was involved. We as a generation right now, because we're losing our young men, we have to be more hands-on than never before.
Right.
We got to get better so they can start doing better.
Right.
Let me say that again. We
No, go
have to
ahead.
get better. We have to get outside our egos. Our ego is not our amigo, right? It's not our friend, right? And we got to get in their ear again because you
Mm-hmm.
said something earlier. They are hurting. Right, in
Mm-hmm.
my entrepreneur journey and my associations with my company, I learned a lot of this. I had to be more hands-on. I had to listen more. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about me. It's not about you when it comes to your family. It's about the betterment of the family.
Yeah.
How
I
do
tell you
how do
what,
I
I'm gonna
get
tell
it?
you what's crazy. I'm gonna tell
Go
you what's
ahead.
crazy, and I'm sorry to cut you off with that, but um, like when people don't like love. This is what I
Mm-hmm.
come to understand about love, and why people would say, "Oh, being a father is a sucker's bet." Because a lot of time, when you're a father, when you're a man, you're gonna go what you think is unappreciated for the things that you do.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna do a lot. You see a lot. You protect. You provide. You guide. You know what I mean? You get tired. It don't seem like you get poured into you. But what I've learned is that I learned what the value, what my reward is.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? When I get to see my children prospering, or when I
Mm-hmm.
see them safe, or when I see them exude leadership, and that, you know what I mean. And they're not all perfect. We're family. We have our circumstances.
Yeah.
I had a lot of things that I had to unlearn to get to where I
Mm-hmm.
am to even begin to learn.
Say that again.
Yeah, I
Say
had
that
a lot
again.
of things
One
that I
more
had
time.
to
Mm-hmm.
unlearn to get to a
Yep.
point where I could learn.
Right.
And every day I wake up thankful, and I'm like, hey God, man, I don't know what I got going on. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm rocking with you right now. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Body hurting. You know what I mean? Heart might be weak and like a little sorrowful on something, or might not. It don't even matter. We got Father's Day around the corner, and then
Yeah.
you see all the memes, the jokes because of the devalue of men in society as a whole. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? The fathers get the socks, the this, the that.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
neckties.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
You know what I
Times
told
they,
my
they
youngest
don't
daughter?
even wear. They
Look,
don't even wear.
Listen, I told Precious the other day. I said, look, you know what I want for Father's Day? She's like, what, that? I said, I just want a FaceTime conversation with you for at least a half an hour where we can just kick it and not talk about any issues, but just laugh and joke.
Oh, that's cool. Hey,
That's
you
all
know
I
what I
need.
tell her? Celebrate me. Let me tell you, I'll give you
Yeah.
all my flowers. Hey,
Yeah.
I done paid my dues, right? And here's the deal. Here's the deal. That's a principle of appreciation. Appreciation, right? We don't need it all the time, but when it's done, do it big, right? We need to feel appreciated as fathers and as men, because sometimes it feels thankless, right? But when kids grow up, they have a way of telling you that you always been there, you my superhero or whatever. If you stay consistent, right? This
Right.
is what I learned over the years. You stay consistent, you stay there, you stay focused even when you're upset. I remember I was talking to my daughter right? And we was in the car rolling, and you know how my daughter is, right? And I said,
Right.
just out of the blue, we was vibing, and I said, hey, if one of the things, tell me one of the things that I did good, or that you liked when you was coming up, that I did with you guys coming up or whatever. I'm paraphrasing the question, but it was along those lines, right? And she thought about it for a minute while we was driving and everything, and she said, I like the fact even when we're in trouble, you tried to teach a lesson, or you taught a lesson within that. And that was like, wow, I didn't expect that to come from her.
Right.
Right. Because when we was growing up, we didn't have a voice. Right. We didn't.
Yeah.
There was certain things that we couldn't do or we couldn't say. Right. And here's my daughter telling me that, hey, you tried to teach us and give us a lesson and give us a voice. So did I learn from what we went through? Yes. But I said, hey, my kids are different than what I've been through. So I need to be able to shift how I do things. So what it could be beneficial for them. And sometimes as men, like our examples is, hey, we got to be hard and we got to control everything and everybody got to do the way we want to do it and how we want to do it. No, that's not it. That's not it. We're the foundation for teaching. We're the foundation to show love, because what? Christ showed love to us. If you want an example of how to be a man and you don't have one in front of you, get in that word. Get in that word a little bit. It'll show you. It'll teach you who you are. It will reveal who you are. Right? And then get around some people, right, that are successful. I want to say this.
No, that's good. That's good right there. You want to
be successful as a father? Get around successful fathers outside of your grandfather and your father.
Yeah.
Ask them questions. I asked a lot of questions. I asked my mentor, hey, how do you do this with your family? How do you do this with your kids? Because your kids love you and this, and this. Mm-hmm. And one of the things he told me, he was like, hey, you don't control nothing. That's the first thing he said. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
trust me. We started going back and forth. He said, nah, you don't control nothing. Like, let me just tell you. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm dead serious.
No, that's right.
And I will ask him for insight and everything, and he would give me insight, and I'll argue with him and whatever. But then I think about it, then I go try it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time, I'm like, man, you got me looking like a punk in my own house, man. What you talking about, man? Mm-hmm. This is my house. I'm blah blah blah.
That's that ego.
Bro.
That's that ego.
Yeah, that's the ego. That's it right there.
I already know.
He said, hey, I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah.
Again, he's stuck with his guns.
Right.
Fast forward. The same relationship that he have with his kids, my kids are like that to me.
Yeah.
Why? Because I listen to somebody that's successful. Here's the key word: successful in that arena. Whether it's marriage, whether it's entrepreneurship, whatever it is, you got to have a mentor in those spaces and places. The reason why we're losing our kids because TV is mentoring them. King Von is mentoring them. The music is mentoring them.
Oh,
and they can't even sit in a room with you and have a conversation about present time because you, as a father, is so disconnected to what they got going on. You just watching them and every little thing. Look what you're doing. You ain't a mountain. And they don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Can you blame them? But if you like, hey, who's your favorite artist right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, tell me why you like the artist. Oh, okay. Hey, that's what I used to do. And then I used to go listen to their music.
Mm-hmm.
So when they drop a new song, I'm like, such and such dropped a new song. The bars were kind of whack, but the beat was cool. They're like, oh, you listen to that? Now I just listen to it because of you. Or if my son liked wrestling, guess what? I start watching wrestling a little bit. So when he start talking, I know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
You gotta be present.
Mm-hmm.
Be present. Have something to talk about besides what you want them to do. They're their own individual.
No, that's a fact. Well, the one thing. Okay, my bad. Well, I was gonna say the one thing that that I try to do, not even try to do, the one thing that I do when you along the lines where you're like being involved and being engaged, like I'm in a position where it's fortunate enough that my wife showed me how to be present with the family. because of I wasn't used to that. You know, I thought me just grinding and working and whatever. And one day she told me, she said, yeah, you work on all these hours, you know, make money, do this and that. They're not going to remember these gifts. They're not going to remember. They're not going to remember, you know, the present you bought or this, that. She said, what they're going to remember is the time that you spent with them.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That's a bar. That's a big one.
And when
that's
she said that, it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't know if I was working so much, because I felt like I didn't know how to do anything else, which I didn't. But I can do this. You know what I mean? That's what my heart was like. I can do this. I can grind. I can hustle. I can do this. You know what I mean? Be thankful. I'm providing. You know, I can do this. You know, remember, but I didn't know that
to be providers. We were shown to be providers.
Right. But I didn't. But nobody told me that. Because I didn't really witness a father engage with his children. You know, besides, like you said, our Uncle Pete at the most. I always. That's one of the, like, I love my time that I had with Uncle Pete because I always reflect back to him and the household and having our aunt be, you know, the joy and the different things that they experience, even with having so many children and us taking on other children and everything else. And they still was able to have joy, laugh, and fun and this and that, even though he worked hard.
Uncle Pete, Peter Gunn, and Celeste. Shout out to him.
Shout out to my auntie, man, and my Uncle Pete, man. Love all the cousins. The
whole Carolina clique. The whole Carolina
no doubt.
You know what I mean?
No doubt. But it was probably one of the best things that moms could have did for us is to put us in a position to be around our family and have that strong bond and connection, because it definitely passed on to us to have to be to take family serious, to value it, you know. So go ahead.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
And mom had a hand in there too. A lot of things that mommy did when we were young, she just did it because I would talk to her all the time, but she was engaging. She was present with everything that we had going on. And that's why I call her my superhero, because she would take us and have us in the car. You remember when we used to go get the Whoppers and you used to have your stuff special. And I'm like, why he always got to do? Why he can't just get a
I don't remember having nothing special, bro. What you talking about?
Actually, you always had to have an extra cheese or something on it. Everybody knows you had that special joy. Everybody.
Extra, I don't remember. No, it wasn't no extra cheese, buddy. Man, what you talking about?
I'm telling you.
Coupons, man. What you talking about?
You had to be different from everybody else. Hey, so we used to go get those Whoppers and sit in the parking lot. Like, mommy did a lot of little things that now I do. Now you do, like being engaging, being laughter, being like touching and hugging and stuff like that. We didn't get a lot of that when we was coming up.
Yeah.
We didn't get a lot of that. So when I start doing that, I know that came from her. Again, it's what you're shown.
Yeah.
All that is what you're shown, right? So just imagine, right? Our sons, right? Because we both got sons, right? I'm very involved with him. I'm calling him like, hey, you all right? Because he's in a different state. Sending him stuff. Hey, I'm proud of you.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. Whether he's doing good, I'm keeping him encouraged. I'm letting him know I'm there, even though we're in a different state.
Yeah,
I'm still in his ear. The fathers need to do that because they still need you. They still need kids. Your sons still need support. You want your sons to be better than you. You pour the best into them, no matter what. Right? It's not about accolades and everything. It's about the legacy. It's about raising responsible and strong men so they won't yield to the pressures of, hey, being stereotyped or being discriminated and everything, because they know who they are. If you're constantly pouring into them and telling them who they are, and you tell them they're going to be great, and you tell them they're going to be a champion, and tell them they can do all things through Christ, that gives them strength, and they know who they are, the world can't tear them down. Because we got all these external forces, trying to tear us down, because we are who we are. We are powerful. As men, we are powerful.
Yeah, that's a fact.
We're mighty. You know what I'm saying? Our mentality, our physical capacity, right? No one could touch us. Our mental game, no one could touch us. So when society sees you as a threat, what they do? They try to tear you down.
Yeah.
So that's why you see all these young men, hey, anger issues, identity issues, switch hitting. 1 minute they with their brother, and then the next minute they with a girl. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't know themselves. They're angry. They're ashamed. They got all this going on, and we're looking back like, God, man, look at this. They crazy. They this and that. Hey, they are because a lack of what we needed to do.
Yeah.
What we should have been doing.
Yeah.
Leadership. There you go. And leadership starts where? Leadership starts in the home. Right. So a lot of individuals as men don't know the responsibility of being what? A father.
Yeah.
Hey, it only takes 2 minutes to make a baby.
Yeah.
Being a father and a dad is a lifetime.
No, this is true.
You get what I'm saying? And most of the time, hey, when this is too much, hey, if it was too much, you should have thought about that before you lay down.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of big things. And that's where the complexities start to come in as a society at whole. And what I've learned over the years, you got to be careful, because I know more good fathers than I don't know deadbeats. Matter of fact, I don't keep any deadbeats around me anyway, so I don't really know. But I know more good fathers than deadbeats. I know fathers who suffer in silence with issues, who break their back every day, who are there supportive as much as they know how. You know what I mean? And but that's not the narrative that you see or that's promoted.
Yeah. One of the things when we went to Vegas, that remember we went to that small group in Vegas? That was profound.
Yeah. That was. So it's amazing. So, but what I want to do, we're gonna pick up there. We're gonna take another break. We're gonna pivot right here, right, and then we're gonna follow up. All right, we're gonna follow up with this because I do want to get into what to expect from you. You know, now as far as then, you know, what you're doing with the VLD, the finances, and shoot some game, because I know a lot of fathers right now. With the financial crisis supposedly that's happening right now in our country, you know, it's a struggle to provide, and then, you know, you can't even think about putting anything away. And maybe some tricks, some tips on how to pivot if you're in a position where you're in the hole or whatever you got going on to get back.
Can I add one thing real quick before you jump off? If the man is not getting support in the home, we need to support one another. They don't need to suffer in silence. They need to say, hey, I need a listening ear to talk. I need a listening ear to talk. That small group was profound because I was like, hey, I'm not alone in my struggle. I was able to be transparent and non-judged because the circle that we was in, I wasn't bad, but I wasn't always all the way good.
We'll pick up on that too. Hold on. Don't go too deep in that. We're going to circle right. We'll start right there.